If you're curious about how I plan on investing my money in retirement, then this video is for you. But it's probably the number one request that I get in the comments, which is, hey Azul, how are you planning to invest your money in retirement? So let me start off. I'm going to first share what's important to me, what I'm looking for. Then I'm going to share with you how I'm planning on investing my money, so be sure to stay until the end. Okay, let's jump in. So one of my core values, right? I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been a financial advisor. And one of the great things about being a financial advisor is I kind of get to live through the lives of hundreds of my clients. And I've seen what's worked, I've seen what's brought joy. And so this is what's important to me. And the first thing is worry-free. I've spent my life in the investment field. When I'm retired, I don't want to spend my days watching CNBC and watching individual stocks. So I want worry-free. So that's number one for me. I don't want it to consume my life. My goal is 1 day per quarter, 8 hours per quarter, I'm going to spend tracking my investments. And for me, I think that's a super healthy way to do it. And frankly, I think it's a super healthy way for a lot of people to do it. I think too many people spend way too much of their retirement. It becomes a second job, tracking their investments, and you don't have to do that. And I'll talk more about that later. Also, I don't want a lot of complexity. I want something that's relatively simple. I want something that doesn't lock me up, that's flexible. The world has a way of changing, and I want my investments to change if the world does change. Another thing is I want my annual cash flows to beat inflation. If I'm spending, I'm just going to make up numbers. If I'm taking $50,000 a year out of my retirement accounts, I want that to feel like $50,000 in 10 years as well. I don't want it to decrease with time. I want it to increase with time, right? I think that's what we all want. So cash flow is important to me. I also, God willing, I'd like to be able to help my kids rather than leave an inheritance when I pass away. And hopefully I live to my mid 80s in a healthy way, maybe 90. And by that time, my kids are going to be my age, and the extra money won't help them. So there's a book I've talked about, Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. I plan on following that and sharing with my kids, to the extent that I'm fortunate enough, sharing with them some inheritance along the way. So that's important to me as well. My goal is to meet my goals. My goal is not to beat some arbitrary index. Success for me is having the cash flows that I want, that I want to have in retirement, that my wife and I want to have in retirement. Success to me is not beating some arbitrary index. A real common one, of course, is the S&P 500. And then, to the extent possible, I want to leave the world a slightly better place because Azul was here. And these videos, frankly, are a part of that, but there's also causes that I care about that I'd like to be able to support. I also want to be able to sleep well at night. I don't want to have to freak out at night. Hopefully I live another 30 plus years. And during that time, I think, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think there'll be another correction that's at least 30%, 40%, maybe even 50%. And when that happens, it's not going to feel good, but I don't want to lose any sleep. So sleep at night is important for me. And the last thing is, I want my money to serve as a tool for me. I want to be able to do traveling. I want to pursue my adventures. Adventures is kind of a currency of life for me. And again, passion. So that's my criteria. Those are the things that are important to me. And so with that said, here's my game. Let's jump into what my game plan is and how I plan on investing. First, currently I don't have a mortgage. So rule number one, no mortgages. I've spent 40 plus years of my life with a mortgage. I'm fortunate I've paid off my mortgage. No more mortgages. Azul will be mortgage free. You guys have also heard me talk about, I have 3 rules for building wealth, right? You spend less than what you earn, 1 spouse, and 1 house. And I plan on staying with the 1 spouse rule, and I plan on spending less than I earn. But full disclosure, I'm probably going to have 2 homes. I'm going to have 2 smaller homes rather than 1 larger home. And by smaller homes, I mean less than 2,000 square feet. So game plan is to have one. I live in a ski town now, and I have a under 2,000 square foot home in that ski town now. I used to live in a house that was over 5,000 square feet. I downsized when the kids went to school. So the game plan is to have 1 house under 2,000 square feet. I sold the larger house and bought a smaller home. So the ski town has long, hard winters. I like skiing. I have a lot of fun with skiing. I also like mountain biking. But my wife is tired of the winters. So we're also going to have one house in a warm location, let's just call it that. A sunny, warm, probably beach, close to the beach location. And both areas where we can rent out the house. We're not living there. So at least in my mind, at least 6 months a year, we'll be renting things out. So those houses are going to be part of my retirement planning, right? Because we're going to rent them out at least 6 months a year. So that'll be rental income coming in. So that talks about the house. So I'm breaking one of my rules, one house, but I'm not getting a second house as kind of a vacation house. I've seen people do that dozens and dozens of times, and I haven't seen it work out well too often. Usually people regret that. Okay, I mentioned earlier I want to spend 1 day per quarter looking at my investment portfolios. That's not a lot of time. So job number one is Azul have to hire a fee-only financial advisor. And this is not just something that I think you should do. This is something I think I should do. And in my case, I've spent my life doing this. I don't want to do this in retirement. I love it. I'm gonna miss it, but I don't want to spend my life doing this in retirement. So first is a fee-only financial advisor. And my goal is to make good decisions, that my advisor makes good decisions, and that they help me reach my goal. My goal is to reach my goal. It's not to beat the S&P 500, so I want to put it out there. And how am I going to spend this 8 hours per quarter looking at my investments? I'm going to spend 4 hours kind of reviewing how the past quarter went, and I'm going to spend 4 hours talking to my financial advisor. That's how I plan on spending my time. And I'm going to tell my financial advisor, it's your job to tell me if I need to worry. If you don't say I need to worry, I'm not going to worry. So, and obviously I've been doing this 20 years, and I have colleagues that are very, very good at what they do. So it'll be no mystery which firm I'm going to use for that. Also, fee-only financial advisor is really important to me because I'm not going to live forever. My wife's family has a long history of healthy, active living. Unfortunately, my side of the family, particularly on the male side, we have heart issues. So my wife's likely, who knows, but my wife's likely going to outlive me. So I want my wife to have somebody that she knows, she has a relationship, and she trusts, because her husband, the financial advisor, is not going to live forever. And then the other thing is, I recognize that fear is my number one enemy. So I've got to get the asset allocation right. I've got to get the investment right. So let's talk about the investment side of things now. Hopefully you're enjoying this video. If you are, give me a thumbs up. Take a second, hit that thumbs up, hit the like button. It really does help my channel. So my portfolio will be, the 4% rule, Bill Benson. That is built upon at least a 60-40 portfolio, 60% stocks. So I'll be at least 60% stocks, but my stock portfolio will likely be dividend paying portfolio. I want to focus on dividends. I really like the dividend stock strategy in retirement. When you're working and you're making good money, you don't need the cash flow. So growth stocks are likely going to outperform. But in retirement, I want peace of mind. I want to know that I don't have to worry about my portfolio. So I want for my 60% or 70% in the stock market, those are mostly going to be dividend stocks. Those are going to be high quality companies that have operational excellence, strong cash flows, strong competitive positions. You've really got to choose wisely with your dividend stocks. And you know what? That's going to be somebody else's job, not mine. So that's dividend stocks, and probably will to get my cash flow needs, I'll need 60 to 70% of my portfolio in dividend paying stocks. And above and beyond what I need for my cash flows, probably have in growth stocks. And then the 40% will be short duration, high quality corporate bonds. Short duration meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years bonds, but nothing longer than that. Bonds can be secure, but a lot of bonds are not secure. A lot of bonds do have volatility. Even if it's a 30-year treasury, which is issued by the government, you don't have creditor risk. The creditor is the U.S. government. Unfortunately, they're going to print money if they need money. If you have a 30-year bond, if interest rates rise by 1%, that bond's probably going to lose 20, 22%. And it's subject for another video why it's not 30%, but it's going to lose value. So for me, high quality companies that I'm sure are going to be around in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and short duration, because if interest rates go up, then I have bonds maturing. So that's going to be the 60-40. Another part of the game plan is hold off on Social Security as long as I can, as long as right now I don't have any serious health issues. If I did get serious health issues, I'd look at how many years I needed to live to get above the break even. But for both my wife and I, hold off on Social Security as long as we can. I plan on using a health savings account to fund long-term care, LTC. So, and the time to build the HSA is, the health savings account is now. I have a high deductible healthcare plan that allows me to do that. And what else? I talked earlier about my kids. I do want to be able to help out my kids while they're young enough, when the money can help and make a difference in their life. So that is Azul's game plan. I hope you found this video helpful. Again, if you did, give me a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. It helps me. It helps other people find the channel. As the kids say, thumbs for likes and subs for love. Leave me a comment. That's kind of the currency. That's one of the things that gives me joy in doing the YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Azul, encouraging you to take full advantage of the youth of your senior years. Remember, you're only young once. Let's use our time wisely.